We are back, and now we get to cross-examine Detonate. Detonate. I'm just gonna call him Detonate,
Who is a bad guy?
who we know is a bad guy. I'm pretty sure I already know the first contradiction. You're not sure how you feel about Athena right now.
I am not getting the same vibe from this game I have in the others. I guess it's only 30 minutes in, so it is hard to tell. But it definitely feels more like an anime, and I don't know, it just feels different.
Which is funny because, like, basically it is anime.
Okay.
But this you're getting more of that vibe. It does have a different look than the first four games. And I'd say it's even a different look than Great Ace, but it's a little more similar since they both have more of that 3D look
Yeah.
instead of the 2D sprites. We'll see if we just get used to that. I mean, I'm kind of digging this guy because he's ridiculous.
He's like the typical ridiculous Ace Attorney game for
Yeah.
sure. But I don't know. I don't know how I feel about the talking necklace thing.
The talking necklace.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that might be a new character, or a new, not character, but a new, um, what's the word for it? A new power probably
Okay.
relates to that somehow. And so we'll see how that goes. Right now, I'm just kind of making sure. I haven't got an email saying we're streaming, so I just want to double check this because um, I want to make sure the darn thing is streaming correctly. Well, this is here, so it's streaming. Okay, that's good at least. Okay. Let's see. Clip, save, report. Okay. All right, let's try this out. Disarmed by me, then transported here as evidence. Bomb name HH3000, operated by timer or with a remote. I was watching from the gallery when I suddenly became alarmed. I saw that the bomb's timer was counting down. So this is where I think we need to contradict them.
Yeah, because they're saying that she pulled the detonator, right? Or like she pulled its tail to detonate it?
I think the tail just came off when it detonated, but the thing with this is that how can he see the timer if it's inside?
Okay.
Objection!
So you say you saw the bomb's countdown, is that right? Of course, I clearly saw it counting down to 0. And I say that you are clearly lying. What are you talking about? There is no way you could have seen the bomb's timer. After all, the bomb was concealed inside a stuffed animal. Mr. Tenate, how can you claim to know the bomb was about to go off when you couldn't even see the timer? Ah, but that's kids abide yonder. Well, what? No! Pain sweating again. That does seem like... Gasp in pain. That does seem like a glaring inconsistency, indeed. Witness, how do you explain this?
Okay, did you?
Well, Ooh, that was great, Mr. Wright. You found a contradiction right off the bat. Always remember, Athena, when you find an inconsistency in a witness's testimony, there's always a reason behind it. It could be a lie, a hidden meaning, a secret. Whatever it is, it's up to us to dig it out. And pointing out every contradiction we find is the best way to do it, right, boss? Now the question is, what can we dig out of Mr. Tenate? What? Wait, his screen has sweat? Well, let me see. No, there must be some mistake. Oh, yes, of course, I remember now. The sound, I knew because of the sound. Sound? What sound? When the timer of this type of bomb is switched on, it beeps softly. Beep, 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 it is the sound of the bomb counting down. A beeping noise, you say? I suppose it would be possible to notice that even when the bomb is inside the stuffed animal. I simply made a mistake, my bad. Look at his eyes.
The guy's like smiling.
Yeah, he's all content with his made-up thing. How in the world did you hear such a tiny little sound all the way from the gallery? Listening for the sound of a bomb's timer is an integral part of my work. Kitty, get off the TV. I constantly undergo training so that I will never miss it. I hardly think training would help you hear something so soft from so far away. What now? Are you making light of the fine science of disarming bombs? It is a solemn mission that I put my life on the line to perform. Specialist would I be if I could not hear a bomb's timer? It's not like disassembling a toaster, you know. Now he's just showing off. You keep asserting that the sound was too tiny to hear. Wait. But the only tiny thing here is your skill as a lawyer. Being mistrustful is not an attractive quality, you know. And you're just overflowing with attractive qualities, are you? Or perhaps you have some proof that Mr. Tenate did not hear the sound? Well, no, but it still seems totally suspect. But it's going to be really hard to prove that he didn't hear something. If I have this correct, the prosecution's argument is that someone reactivated the bomb before it was brought into the courtroom. What I don't understand, Mr. Payne, is why you believe that person to be Miss Woods. That's simple, Your Honor. Mr. Tenate happened to be there when it happened. He was there when the defendant rearmed the bomb. What's this now? It happened before the trial started. It was when Detective Army and I were transporting the bomb. We brought the bomb to the lobby for the defense. Bomb equals evidence. The lawyer wanted to see it before the start of the trial. Looking for a chance to get at the bomb, Miss Woods was already there in that lobby. Her goal was surely to rearm the bomb and steal the remote switch. Well, I forgot Payne just started talking and I kept talking like a robot. The remote switch? Yes, the switch that controls the bomb remotely. Duh. It has been missing ever since the incident. I am partially to blame. I left the bomb and remote on top of the transport case, and they were rearmed and stolen while I was talking with the lawyer. The defendant then used the remote from inside the courtroom to start the timer. How can you assert so unequivocally that the bomb was rearmed in the lobby? The bomb was safely secured in the transport case. The only time it was outside of the case was in that lobby. Therefore, that was the one and only opportunity anyone had to meddle with it. Someone other than Mr. Tenate could have opened the case and taken the bomb out. Impossible. The transport case is assigned exclusively to me. Do you see this number here? This is my identification number. And I have the only key that can open the case. Nevertheless, Mr. Payne's assertion is nothing more than conjecture. You have no proof that it was Miss Woods who stole the remote switch. And by the same token, you have no proof that it wasn't her. But what I do have is a piece of evidence that proves the defendant handled the bomb. Ah, the tail. 5 minutes, 24 seconds, 2.3 deciseconds. The defense's advantage lasted a mere 5 minutes. Talk about a rotten hand. As long as they have her fingerprints as their trump card, I'm at a big disadvantage. It appears we will have to hear from the defendant herself once more. I wholeheartedly agree, Your Honor. I would like to recall Miss Woods to the stand. I trust you have no objections, Mr. Wright? I'm worried about her condition, but we do need her testimony. On the other hand, I'm not sure I want to make Athena mad. I can read your feelings, you know, boss. Guess there's no hiding from her, huh? Don't worry, I know we need her testimony. But if anybody picks on her again, they'll pay. Guess she's already at anger level 1. Don't worry, I'll stop the proceedings before I let anything bad happen to her. The defense has no objections, Your Honor. In that case, I will take my leave. before I do, there is just one more thing, Mr. Wright. Is it? Me? Yes. Dismantling bombs is my job. Dismantling the case is yours. Do you think you can handle it? I look forward to seeing you try. This guy is hiding something, I just know it. Now, if you will excuse me... Bailiff, please go to the lobby and bring back the defendant. Guy's kind of a jerk. Gonna take him down. Junie? Hi, Athena. She looks even worse off than before. Don't worry, Junie. We're here for you. Thanks, Athena. And I'll do my best, too. You blew up the courtroom because you bear resentment against the courts, correct? No, of course not. What's that you say? I can barely hear you. I haven't done anything wrong. This prosecutor's scary.
Objection!
What an impudent little girl. Stop acting innocent and tell the truth. This is getting ugly. You rearmed the bomb because you wanted to blow up the courthouse. Admit it. That's why you went to the lobby where Mr. Justice was. Isn't that right? Ugh. Ah! Mr. Wright, can I go give that prosecutor a smack? Dang, her eyes turned white. What? Of course not. Do we have to review Courtroom Manners 101 again? We can't let a creep that bullies innocent girls like that off so easily. I haven't forgotten about how he treated you. Don't worry about me, just help Junie. Her heart's crying out. She's so scared, so very scared. Looks like Athena's picking something up with her heightened sense of hearing. And it sounds like this time it's the voice of Miss Wood's heart. Don't deny it, you stole the remote switch and used it in the courtroom, didn't you? Your Honor, please put a stop to this. Mr. Payne is badgering the defendant. Yes, Miss Woods does seem quite frightened. Mr. Payne, I ask that you behave more like a gentleman. Ah, but don't you know, Your Honor, there is no more a gentle man in this world than I. Ah, as if a gentleman or even a gentleman would behave like he does. Don't let that rude ruffian win. Athena. How dare you call a gentleman such as I a rude ruffian? I'll have you know I attend a manners class every Saturday. I'm more than just a mere gentleman. I'm a genteel man. Not when you're terrorizing a young lady, you're not. I'd demand my money back for that manners class if I were you. Irk. I should probably be the adult here and stop the two of them, but... Mr. Payne, that'll be enough. Certainly, Your Honor. No further questions. Let's move on to the defendant's testimony. Miss Woods, please share with the court what you were doing when the bomb went off. Well, that day, I was watching from the gallery. The bomb went off, and rubble started falling. It fell on top of me. Junie's clearly in pain being forced to recall the bombing like this. She can't even get her words out. This isn't going to work, so what now? Hey, wait a minute. Even if she can't vocalize what she wants to say, we can listen to what's inside her heart. Yes, now's the perfect time to use Athena's power. You can hear it, can't you, Athena? The cries of Miss Wood's heart? Yes, and they sound incredibly strained. She's so scared. I think she could collapse at any second. Athena has a unique ability, you see. With her finely tuned sense of hearing, she can hear the words of a witness's heart. In essence, she can sense how a person is really feeling from the tone of their voice. I guess it's all up to Athena and her special ability now. Athena, I want you to use the analytical psychology you studied, and listen to the testimony of Miss Wood's heart. Okay, boss, I'll give it a go. After all, this is the whole reason I put all that effort into studying analytical... Of Gits, let's do this. That's not German, is it?
It is.
It is?
Mm-hmm.
Did I pronounce it right?
Yeah, out gates. It's like, let's go.
Auf Gates. Okay. So your holographic thingamabob can show us how Miss Woods is feeling, correct? In a nutshell, yes. The emotions and images that I picked up on just now while listening to her testimony, I can enter all that into a widget and use the mood matrix to analyze them. These mood markers here reflect fluctuations in Junie's emotions. When she feels happy or is enjoying the memory, the happy marker will light up. When she's feeling angry or frustrated, the angry marker will react. When she feels sadness or is frightened by a memory, the sad marker will blink. And when she feels surprised or confused, the surprise marker will let us know. So with your special ability and Widget's Mood Matrix program, we can track how Miss Woods is feeling as she testifies. Talk about the wonders of technology. Yep, now let's give it a shot. I'm picking up on some kind of discord or noise in Junie's heart. See here? This is what the noise looks like in the mood matrix. It's a result of inconsistencies between her testimony and her feelings. If we can pinpoint these inconsistencies, the noise level should drop. Okay, it's time to listen to Ms. Wood's true testimony. Well, that day, I was watching from the gallery. The bomb went off, and rubble started falling. It fell on top of me. Happy and shocked. I think I have a good grasp on Junie's emotional state now. This power of Athena's is incredible, and I'm seeing an unexpected emotion that's inconsistent with the content of her testimony. What? Already? Look at this. When she says it fell on top of me, the happy marker is reacting. Well, look at that. That is odd. There must be a reason for this contradictory emotion. We just need to do some digging. When you find an unexpected emotion, you'll first need to pinpoint it, and then select the unexpected emotion or reaction from the 4 mood markers with X. Widget is registering joy when Miss Woods recalls the rubble falling on her. There must be a reason for this unexpected emotion. Miss Woods, as the rubble was falling, was there also something that made you feel happy? What? Mr. Wright, the feelings of happiness is spreading throughout Junie's heart. Keep going on this point, and I bet Junie will start to calm down. Great, let's hear what she has to say. Just as I was about to escape the courtroom, the bomb went off. I was so startled, I tripped. And then rubble started falling on top of me. I really thought I was done for. But just then, Apollo came and rescued me. Apollo? He used his own body to shield me from the rubble. So that's when he sustained those injuries. How do you feel, Junie? Did talking about Apollo give you some courage? Yes, Apollo is... Just talking about him makes me feel like a leaf undergoing photosynthesis. And see, your coughing stopped all of a sudden. Oh, you're right. Thank you, Athena. Looks like we were able to draw out some new testimony. Hee, pretty neat, huh? But there's still some noise left, meaning there must be some discord in Junie's heart. I guess we'll have to keep going then. Let me input this new information and update the mood matrix, and we'll be good to go. You remember what to do, right? When I find an unexpected emotion, I should first pinpoint it? That's right, and then you select it from the mood markers with X. If we can find the reason for the discord in her heart, then we should be able to draw even more new testimony out. I tried to run, but I was too slow. Before I could get away, the bomb went off. I was so startled I tripped. Then rubble started falling on me. I thought I was done for. Then Apollo came and rescued me. Well,
It's a sad thing.
yeah. So here's shock, here's sad.
Got it!
You were happy when Mr. Justice rescued you, weren't you? Yes, I was really happy. But was there also something you felt sad about at the same time? Sad? The reason I ask is, when you were describing how you were rescued, we sensed a little sadness too. Oh, I think it's probably because of Bunrap Riney. Bumrap Riney. Well, what do you know? Something new. That's right. I brought my stuffed animal Bumrap Riney to watch the trial with me. Bumrap Riney and Phony Fanty are brothers. Who knew that the legal world could inspire a whole line of merchandise? I had Bumrap Riney with me while I was watching the trial. But it wasn't until Apollo saved me that I realized I'd lost him as I was running away. My poor Riney, a victim of that terrible bomb. Oh, I know. You can see what he looks like in this poster. It's for the campaign to eradicate fake evidence and false charges. Phony Fanty and Bumrap Riney, huh? Nothing against the campaign, but why an elephant and a rhinoceros? Mr. Wright, I don't sense any discord in Junie's heart anymore. So I guess that means we managed to draw out all of her testimony. That's right, I'll just make an update with the new info and we'll have the whole picture. So do you think her testimony will help? Absolutely. I don't know what I would have done without you, Athena. So Bumrap Riney was in that courtroom when the bomb went off. Now that we know that, it changes the meaning of that other piece of evidence. All I have to do is present it at the right statement. I was watching from the gallery with Bumrap Riney. I tried to run, but I was too slow. Before I could get out of the courtroom, the bomb went off. I was so startled I tripped. Then rubble started falling. I thought I was done for. But then Apollo came and rescued me.
So, Bumrap Riney's tail is the one that her fingerprints is on.
Yes. But, whoops. That's Judy's complete testimony. Not bad, huh, Mr. Wright? I should focus on the new statements Miss Woods made. The existence of Bumrap Riney should turn things around in our favor. It changes the meaning of a certain piece of evidence we already have. All I have to do is present it at the right statement.
Is it right now? Because you can see his tail.
Yeah, but let me... Does she mention Bumrap at all after that? No. Okay, so I think it's this.
Objection!
Miss Woods, I know this trial has been very hard for you, but you can relax now. You are without a doubt innocent. Mr. Wright, what wild assertion are you making now? My wild assertion is simply this. The two stuffed animals were mixed up. The tail the defendant's fingerprints were found on wasn't that of Phony Fanty. It was the tail of her gallery companion, Bumrap Riney.
Objection!
What? What nonsense is that? I can see they're both stuffed animals, yes, but they're completely different characters. An elephant and a rhino, they're as distinct as a defense lawyer and a prosecutor. But are they really so different? Both defense lawyers and prosecutors strive to protect the peace through law. Even elephants and rhinos have some similar characteristics. They're both gray, for example. Anyway, this poster is all I need to prove my assertion to be true. If I may direct the court's attention here, you'll clearly see how the two got mixed up.
Take that!
Well, would you look at that? The two tails are exactly the same. Yes, exactly. The two stuffed animals are based on entirely different animals, but the design of their tails is exactly the same. Nag! Oh, his hair moves back.
Is it a toupee?
I think so. Well, maybe we'll see. Maybe he'll have a meltdown of his own. Order in the court. As long as the possibility exists that the tail belongs to Bumrap Riney, we can no longer consider it to be decisive proof that the defendant handled the bomb. As things stand, I consider the charges against the accused unsubstantiated. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Payne? Oh, yes, of course, Your Honor. Ooh, that was great, Mr. Wright. You turned things right around. Yeah, it's not over yet, but at least we managed to hold out this long. I believe that brings our proceedings for today to a close. Mr. Payne, I'm afraid you have some serious investigating ahead of you. Yes, Your Honor. Very well, let us reconvene tomorrow. Court is adjourned. I wasn't expecting that from the first case. That was so exciting, boss. We did it. True to form, you managed to just barely pull it off at the very last moment. True to form? Gee, I never knew you had such a glowing opinion of me. Thank you for everything you're doing. You did great, Miss Woods. You really stuck it out. And you got really brave at the end, just when we needed you most, Junie. Thanks to you, we were able to turn things around. Well, you were the one who gave me that courage, Thena. Really? Heh, thanks. So be honest, was I any help at all? Of course. Without you, we would have never gotten out of that tight spot. That's good to hear. I may still have a lot to learn, but you can bet I'm going to give it my all. I'll be so good that one day you'll call me your partner. That's what I like to hear. Analytical psychology, the ability to solve the riddles of a person's heart. Athena's true potential is beginning to really shine through now. Hey, where's Apollo anyway? Good question. I almost forgot about him. I assume he'd still be in here in the lobby. Oh, I know. Maybe he's still in courtroom number 4. Courtroom number 4? What would he be doing at the scene of the explosion? When I came out to the lobby to rest, I told Apollo bum-rap Riney. I told him I dropped Riney in the courtroom as I was trying to escape before the blast. And then, Apollo said he had an idea where Riney might be, so we went to take a look together. I guess Apollo can be pretty nice when he wants to be. So you went looking for Ronnie together before you were called back into courtroom number 5? Yes, I've had some time to rest, so I was able to go and look for him. But then they called me into courtroom number 5 to testify. Apollo insisted on staying there, though. With all those injuries, I wonder how he's managing. I think Apollo might have figured something out. Wonder what it was. He told me I'm going to look for evidence to clear your name, Juniper. Just maybe he found some new piece of evidence? Anyway, we'd better go and get him. Good idea. Well, I mean, we're only really going to an adjacent courtroom.
Where are you, Apollo? Trial's over for today! Come on, I know you're... No!
Oh dear.
Obviously, want to play for like another 45 minutes, right?
Yeah, are you down?
Yeah. I hope he's not dead and that he's just injured.
I hope so too. I don't think it's the Apollo Justice trilogy because he dies in the second game.
He could come back as a ghost and help us.
You mean like Mia?
Yeah, who knows?
Oh my god, he's gonna take over Athena's body?
Hey.
This isn't exactly how I envisioned the second day of this trial to start. But given how things ended yesterday... Good morning. Oh, okay, so we're not actually... Okay, so that makes sense, the first case. The mood sure is tense, not that that's any surprise. Oh, hey, did you read the paper this morning, boss? Huh? The paper? They came out of left field. You didn't read it? Then you don't know the big news. Somebody spotted an abdominal snowman way up in the mountains. Tell me you know the difference between a paper and a tabloid, Athena. It might show up in the forest where you live, Junie. So you'd better watch out, okay? You really should read the story for yourself. I couldn't even begin to do it justice. Justice? Huh? Oh, poor Apollo. And it's all my fault. Athena! Oh, Junie, what was I thinking? I'm so sorry. What we found yesterday was not Apollo's dead body, thank goodness. He'd been assaulted by someone with a blow to his head and was lying unconscious. We rushed him to the hospital right away, and it looks like he's going to pull through. But it was still quite a shock to stumble onto a scene like that. Is Miss Woods all right, Athena? Well, I managed to get her to stop crying. Now she's resting on that sofa over there. I guess she really feels responsible for what happened to Apollo. Poor Junie. She believes that the reason Apollo was attacked is because he was helping her look for something in that courtroom. Oh, I guess I can see why she'd think that. By the way, how are you doing? Who, me? Yeah, you. I know you're concerned about Miss Woods, but are you alright? Me? I'm doing just fine, boss. I mean, yeah, it was a huge shock, but I'm alright. People who have studied analytical psychology are great at times like these. After all, they've learned how to control their own emotions, too. Somehow, I don't think it's as easy as she makes it sound.
Isn't her thing sad?
Yeah, look at it. But there's no denying she's a real trooper. Yeah, she's quite sad right now. Apollo doesn't remember a thing, does he? Yeah, he can't recall anything from the time right before he was assaulted. Nothing about what he was doing. The doctor said it's probably due to that hit he took to the head. Assaulted in a court of law and losing your memory at that, I know how that feels. Oh yeah, second game, first case. But who in the world would do such a thing, huh, Mr. Wright? Grr, just wait till I get my hands on the coward who hurt our Apollo. Now, Athena, I thought you said you were in control of your emotions. Let's just focus on helping Miss Woods, okay? But I admit I'm just as upset as you. Okay, boss. You're right. Apollo's assailant can wait until after we clear Junie's name.
But haven't we already cleared it?
Kind of. Like, she's still on trial, so it's not over. That's the spirit. Now, let's see. I'd better check the court record one more time before the trial starts. Bomb transport case. Missing remote switch. Phony fancy tail. Which is actually probably the other tail. Bomb. The autopsy. And look! She got hit on the back of the head just like Apollo. Earth to Mr. Wright, I'm ready whenever you are. Alright, let's get ready to rumble. You bet. With everything that happened with Apollo, I didn't have time for a proper investigation. I can't let that stop me, though. I have to get this right for Miss Wood's sake and Apollo's too. Day 2, court is now in session. All rise. Court will now reconvene for the trial of Juniper Woods. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. The defense is also ready, Your Honor. Now then, I believe I instructed the prosecution to further their investigation. Were you able to locate the remote switch in question? I'm afraid the remote switch is still missing, Your Honor. I must say I'm disappointed, Mr. Payne. Not angry, just disappointed. I apologize, Your Honor. Aha, looks like the prosecution is just as unprepared as I am. There is a separate matter, however, that I would like to bring up during this trial. A separate matter, you say? And what might that be? I assume you are aware that another incident occurred during yesterday's trial. I'm speaking, of course, of the assault on Mr. Justice in the ruins of courtroom number 4. Uh-oh, why is he bringing that up? Yes, what a truly harrowing experience it must have been. Poor Mr. Justice. At the time of the attack, Mr. Justice was not alone. He was with the defendant, Miss Juniper Woods.
Oh my god, they're gonna try to pin that on her too?
Yeah, he isn't going where I think he's going with this, is he?
She's in love with him.
Yeah! The prosecution wishes to indict Miss Woods on the charge of Mr. Justice's assault.
He just doesn't like this poor little girl, and Mr. Detonate is gonna be really happy.
Yeah, because he wants to pin it on this girl. Mr. Payne, the incident under deliberation here is the courtroom bombing. The assault on Mr. Justice has nothing to do with this trial. Ah, but I believe there is a connection between this case and Mr. Justice's assault. Please take a moment to consider these facts. Both events occurred in courtroom number 4. This is the location in courtroom number 4 where the unconscious Mr. Justice was discovered. As you can see, it's quite close to where Detective Army's body was found. Courtroom number 4 diagram added to the court record. The question is, why did the culprit feel the need to maliciously attack Mr. Justice? Why indeed? What do you believe their motive to be, Mr. Payne? I believe Mr. Justice found something in that courtroom while Miss Woods was with him. Evidence that fingered her as the perpetrator of the bombing. You mean he found some incriminating evidence? Precisely, and so I surmise that the defendant picked up a piece of rubble and hit Mr. Justice on the back of the head in order to silence him. She is quite strong to do that. That was a big boulder she picked up. Junie would never do such a thing. She was devastated when we found Apollo hurt like that. Miss Sykes, please control your outbursts. Ahem. It is the prosecution's belief that by deliberating on Mr. Justice's assault, we will draw ever closer to the truth of the courtroom bombing itself. Very well. Miss Woods is hereby officially indicted on the charge of assaulting Mr. Justice. What? Why are you listening to Mr. Toupee over there? Oh, it is a toupee. Although, considering our conversation yesterday, I think Apollo might have figured something out. I wonder what it was. He told me I'm going to look for evidence to clear your name, Juniper. Maybe the two incidents really are related after all. I would like to start by hearing from the defendant herself. Very well, bailiff. Please bring Miss Woods to the witness stand.
I want to hear from Mr. Robot. I think he did it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure for the opening movie he did, but I want to get that little sly look out of the eyes coming out of that, whatever that is.
His mask thing?
Yeah. Oh no, she's coughing again. I'm sorry. I can't seem to stop. Miss Woods. Guess she's really still upset about Apollo. Miss Woods, you went to the ruins of courtroom number 4 with Mr. Justice, did you not? Yes, I did. Good, good. If you would then, please testify about what happened to the court. During the trial yesterday, I was overcome by a fit of coughing. Apollo stayed with me and we went to the courtroom ruins together. But then I was called back to this courtroom to give testimony. Apollo insisted on staying behind in courtroom number 4. I swear I didn't attack Apollo. Why would I ever hurt such a kind person? So Mr. Justice stayed by your side while you were feeling unwell. What an admirable young man. I thought his loud voice was his only outstanding feature. He may look like a little imp at times, but Apollo can be really nice too. I hope she didn't hurt her wrist backhanding that one out. But one has to wonder, why did Mr. Justice stay behind in the ruins? I think Apollo might have figured something out. Something? What kind of something? Something to do with the courtroom bombing kind of something, I think. Oh ho! New evidence for the case, was it? That's a very big kind of something indeed. I believe so. He mentioned looking for some evidence when I was called away. Just as I thought, there is a connection between the two incidents, but the defendant has told a very big lie, Your Honor. What lie is that? When she learned Mr. Justice would be looking for evidence, she attacked him. She attacked him to give herself the chance to destroy that evidence. No, I never. Ms. Woods repaid Mr. Justice's kindness with violence. We found the proof of her foul deed there in the courtroom ruins.
What?
What on earth? Do you see it? There in front of Mr. Justice's right hand? Witness the message he left us.
We never saw that.
Yeah, that came later. It's written in blood. W-O-O-D-S.
He was knocked unconscious. How could he write it in the blood?
Yeah, we didn't see it, so after we got there, at some point we left and he put the
Because it's the police guy. It's Mr. Ted Tennant.
Yeah. Right there, it says Woods in capital letters. What? I submit that Mr. Justice left us with the name of his attacker before he fainted. You know, I feel like we've had some people try to pull this off in a couple cases. The first one, where that officer died in the first case in the second game, and he had the name of his girlfriend, but it was spelled differently.
bananas case.
Yeah, because that guy didn't really know how to spell it. That can't be true. Why would Apollo write my name? Mr. Wright, the nerve of him leaving that message. Why would he do this? Hey, don't take it out on me. I don't understand it any more than you do. When we discovered Apollo yesterday... Apollo! No! Ah! We didn't even have a chance to rush over to him. As soon as security heard Athena scream, they ran in and cordoned off the area. After that, they were there in courtroom number 4 with Apollo the whole time. We couldn't investigate anything ourselves and had to leave everything to the police. Still, I never thought they would find some bloody writing there. Now then, please begin your cross-examination, Mr. Wright. I'm gonna get some water, and then we're gonna cross-examine her. When we find out ultimately that she's the culprit. Our microwave is off.
I had to cut the power earlier.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
It still works, you just gotta reset it.
Okay. Yeah, I was wondering. I'm like, I see electricity for everything else. So, okay. What is my maestro doing with you?
He is all curled up and warm because it is raining and cold outside, and he wants to be a warm kitty.
Aw.
Isn't that right, Mr. Kitty?
Well, he will be. All right. During the trial yesterday, I was overcome by a fit of coughing. Do you always cough when you get nervous, Miss Woods? Yes. Mr. Wright, please do not make Miss Woods nervous by pressing her so ruthlessly. For that barely even qualified as a quasi-question. Let's help her relax with a little small talk before we dive into the cross-examination. You know, ask her about her hobbies and her crushes and stuff. Her crushes? Really? I don't know about this.
You know who she's got a crush on.
Yeah, we know who she's got a big crush on. Apollo stayed with me and we went to the courtroom ruins together. Why exactly did you go to the courtroom ruins? We went to look for my medicine to stop my coughing. Why would your medicine be in courtroom number 4? I dropped it in the heat of the moment. Bumrap Riney, he was keeping my medicine safe for me. He has a little compartment that I can put things in, you see. And Phony Fanty has the same type of pocket. That's where the bomb was inserted. I had put my medicine for my coughing fits inside Bumrap Riney. When I told Apollo about it, he said he'd help me go look for him. There was so much rubble in there, I was worried, but there was no rubble or anything in front of the witness stand. So when we got inside, Apollo went straight there and started looking for my Riney in that area. It was so nice of him to do that for me, in spite of all his injuries. Apollo is so strong and kind, just like the trees of the forest. The way she makes him sound, you'd think Apollo was some kind of ancient god.
Is Apollo an ancient god?
It is! Oh no, he does not. Oh wait! So that's why you went to the ruins, I see. That seems to be quite an important fact. Please add it to your testimony, Miss Woods. Apollo started looking for Bumrap Riney near the witness stand where there was no rubble.
Hold it!
The area around the witness stand, are you sure about that? I'm sorry, did I say something wrong? No, of course not. I was just testing my hearing. Must not upset her. Yes, I'm sure that's where we searched first. Well, hold up a second. So that's the witness stand. Sure, there's no rubble in front of the witness stand. I mean, that's rubble, but he was hit with it. I don't know if that's the contradiction. Let's keep pressing her.
Hold it!
That was when you were called to the stand about Mr. Tenate's testimony, right? Yes, the bailiff came to courtroom number 4 and brought me back to this courtroom. And what about Mr. Justice? Did he come with you or did he stay behind? Apollo insisted on staying behind in courtroom number 4.
Wouldn't the bailiff be like a witness to her too? Either he was standing or he was down when he came to get her.
Yeah, you would think.
Hold it!
I'd better not ask her about Apollo. I know, I'll use some small talk here to get her to relax a bit. Do you have any hobbies, Miss Woods? Hobbies? Oh, well, I love growing vegetables in my garden. And I love to knit. I like sewing, too. I made this outfit myself. Keep it up, Mr. Wright, it's working. Now ask her if she has a crush on anyone. Oh no, this is going to remind her of Apollo. Is there anyone in particular you like right now? Mr. Wright, is that question even remotely related to this case? To this case? Not really. Mr. Wright, you will refrain from asking questions unrelated to the case at hand. Sorry, Your Honor. -1 to brownie points. Heh. Miss Woods, please continue with your testimony. I believe you were telling the court about your attack on Mr. Justice.
Hold it!
So you think Mr. Justice is kind? Yes, very kind. He rescued me. He's like the sun, strong and warm. He makes me feel strong, too. The only adjectives I associate with the sun are sweltering and oppressive. But then Apollo got hurt, and it's all my fault. Junie, Apollo's gonna be fine. He's just like the sun, right? Well, the sun doesn't just drop out of the sky. You really think he'll be fine? Heh, but the sun does go down at night. Then that means Apollo could... Mr. Payne, I do not think much of men who make young ladies cry. Yeah. So Apollo was trying to help Juniper. Who knew that Apollo could be such a sweetheart? It must have been pretty hard on him, too, with all that rubble everywhere. Now that I think about it, there's something odd about what Apollo was able to do. You know, considering what Miss Woods said just now, I think you're right. That courtroom was in a very unusual state, after all. Which leaves the million-dollar question, what would explain this contradiction? Anyway, let's see what happens when I present what I suspect is our answer. Well, there was rubble around the witness stand. Clearly marked there. Maybe it's this.
Objection!
So he started his search with the witness stand, you say? That's right. I guess maybe he wanted to start from the furthest point in the room. He was being so brave and strong. But that's odd. Under the circumstances, he shouldn't have been capable of that. But he was, and he still is. He might not look it, but he really is brave. And kind, too. No, that's not the part I'm finding fault with. Someone has a crush on Apollo. What you are claiming is something that no one should have been able to do. But I should think that anyone can be brave and kind if they wanted to be, Mr. Wright. True, anyone can be brave and kind, but if you would please look at the diagram... With the courtroom in this state, how is it possible to walk up to the witness stand? Oh, I see your point. The rubble blocks off access to the area around the witness stand. Huh, does such a tiny inconsistency even matter? Perhaps the witness is simply misremembering it. Irk. Great, now I'm not so sure it matters. A real man doesn't make mountains out of molehills, you know. But that's precisely what Mr. Wright does best. I call slander, Your Honor. So, was it really impossible to approach the witness stand? I have to say it's a bit hard to tell with any accuracy from just this diagram. Mr. Payne, do you have any other photos of the crime scene? Let me see, Your Honor. Yes, I have one more. Here it is. It's a little more pulled-back version of the photo I presented before.
Is that the bomb case next to him?
Looks like it. Huh? What's that hunk of metal on wheels? Mr. Payne, is the metallic object in that photo Mr. Tznate's bomb transport case? That's right. Is there some problem? Yes, the transport case was there in courtroom number 4 when the bomb went off. It must have been there ever since. Oh, that's it. Miss Woods, have you remembered something? Yes, I just realized. Its position. It's different from before. Its position? The position of what? The position of that big metal thing. The bomb transport case. Yes, when Apollo and I went there, it was in a different place. Where the cases in the photo was open space, so it was easy to search the stand. I see. So where was the transport case when you and Mr. Justice saw it? As I recall, I think it was more to the right. To the right? Then that means... In that case, the case was over there at the time of Apollo's attack? Who cares where the transport case was when? What difference does it make?
Objection!
It has nothing to do at all with... Where the transport case was has everything to do with this discussion. In fact, it's so important that enough to turn the prosecution's argument on its ear. What? Well, that certainly sounds very relevant indeed. And you sound as though you know where the case was at the time of the attack. Yes, Your Honor, this diagram represents the crime scene as shown in the photo. And this is where the transport case was at the time of the assault on Mr. Justice. Alright, I have this. The bomb transport case was here at the time of Apollo's attack. She said it was more to the right, so it was over woods.
Take that!
Your Honor, I assert that this is where the transport case was at the time of the assault. But that's... inconceivable! Miss Woods, was this where the transport case was when you saw it? Yes, that's where it was. Thank you, Miss Woods. I'm sure the court has noted an interesting fact about this position. The transport case covers up the writing in blood. Exactly, if the transport case was in that position at the time of the assault, then no message could have been written there because the case was in the way. Which leads us to conclude that Mr. Justice couldn't have left that bloody writing. Why should we believe the defendant's claim that the case was in a different position? She's obviously lying. The fact that the case was moved after the assault on Mr. Justice is proved by more than Miss Wood's testimony alone. What? And where is this proof you're talking about? It's right here in the crime photo. I'm keen to see this photo myself, Mr. Wright. What in this photo indicates that the transport case was moved after the assault? Oh, the marks! These marks.
Take that!
All the proof you'll need, Your Honor, is right here? I'm afraid I don't follow. What? Mr. Wright, I'm sensing feelings of doubt from you. Which means you're just taking a wild stab in the dark, aren't you? No, I'm not. You're good. I bet you can also tell how I'm about to feel in a few seconds, too. You just earned a penalty. What? If the transport case was moved after the assault, there should be some evidence of it. Better take another look at the photo. Oh! It's over his... See, it's over his thing.
Take that!
That just proves it was moved, but this proves it was moved over him. Okay. Mr. Justice's bandage over there. I see it, but what is it? This mark was made by one of the casters from the transport case carrying the bomb. As the case was moved, it ran over his bandages. In other words, the transport case was originally to the right of Mr. Justice. Then after Mr. Justice was assaulted, the transport case was moved. What? Just as Miss Woods said, the case was covering the writing at the time of the assault. Therefore, it was impossible for Mr. Justice to have left that message in blood. No! You did it, boss. It was a real nail-biter, but you pulled it off. Yep, that should bring down the prosecution's claim like a house of cards. Order in the court. Mr. Wright, that was a very clever deduction. It was nothing, Your Honor. Nothing but pure genius. Take that. Boss, I'm sensing a definite smug and braggy vibe coming off of you. Ooh. I have just one question, Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor. If Mr. Justice didn't leave this message in blood, then who did? Huh? What? Oh. Well... Looks like I should have taken that train of thought through to the last station. Well, I've heard a lot about this. So this is Mr. Wright's famous bluffing technique, is it? Ah, this feeling, it brings back memories of the old days. Back when you carved out a name for yourself by bluffing your way through thick and thin. Gee, Mr. Wright, the judge kind of makes you... You made your argument with such confidence, Mr. Wright. Now I'd like to hear your answer with just as much confidence. Hey, until the judge asked the question, you didn't catch on either, Buster. What now, boss? Hehehe. I hope you didn't bluff your way into a corner. Think, Venus, think. There must be a way through this. I have to dig my way to the truth somehow. Who could have written that message in blood? The culprit.
Yeah.
I mean, that's someone else. If Apollo didn't leave that bloody writing, maybe it was Apollo's attacker who wrote it and made it look like Apollo did it? It seems like the most reasonable explanation. But wait a minute, I just realized something, boss. What is it? Look at the amount of blood in the photo. It doesn't look like Apollo bled very much. I wonder if it's even possible to write out Woods with just this much. Hey, you're right. Good thing Apollo didn't lose that much blood. That might be a factor in why he survived the assault. And since there was so little blood, that pretty much rules out his attacker, huh? I guess so, but if it wasn't his attacker, then who else could it have been? Who else could have written that message in blood? Okay, I'm a little... If it wasn't Apollo, who could have left the bloody message?
Take that!
This person left the bloody writing? And what do you base this claim on? Do I really need to base my claim on something? What? Boss? Of course you do. Don't tell me you don't have anything at all to back up your assertion. Nothing in particular, really. I just picked detonate, though. So it wasn't Apollo or his attacker. When you think about who was at the crime scene, there's only one other person it could really be. Oh yeah, wasn't there another person who shed blood at the crime scene? Wait, what? It wasn't Detonate?
Is it Candid? Like, but she was already dead and moved out, right?
I thought so.
Or really only... Well, he could have... Well, he couldn't have wrote it, right?
Yeah, because you're saying it wasn't Apollo. Candace?
But she was already dead, so we should have already have seen it, right?
Yeah, shouldn't we have? It's the only one who shed blood. To be honest, I don't actually have any real proof of this, but I've come this far, there's no turning back now. Besides Apollo, there was one more person who shed blood at this crime scene. A person who shed blood? You don't mean... Oh, but I do. I believe it was Candace Army who left behind this message in blood. What? That's interesting. What? Detective Army? Are you sure you know what you're doing here? Not really? What kind of ridiculous assertion is that? If you had said the attacker left the message to throw people off, it might have made sense. At first glance, that would seem to be the most reasonable explanation. However, Apollo didn't shed enough blood to write such an extensive message. Okay, I get what they're saying. The attacker couldn't have used his blood. Huh. Ah, I see. Even the photo makes it clear there wasn't enough blood to write all those letters. And Mr. Justice did survive. I suppose he didn't bleed very extensively in that case. But why would Detective Army write the defendant's name? There was no connection between the two whatsoever. And I didn't even know who the lady who was killed. I admit the investigation didn't turn up any connection between the victim and defendant. They had never even met each other. That's very true. Well then, let's see. Then maybe the intended meaning of the message is not what it appears to be. The intended meaning... Not what it appears to be. Maybe the message was not intended to be Woods. Coming from you, that's quite the bold statement, Mr. Wright. You wish to assert that this bloody writing could have some other meaning. Yes, Your Honor. For something I pulled off out of a wormhole, it could turn out to be true, right? It clearly says Woods, as anyone can plainly see. What other meaning could it possibly have? Candace Army was a detective. Maybe Woods only means something to the police. Like a police scanner code, for example. I didn't think of that. Haha, you may have tricked His Honor, but you'll never get the best of me. I have a thing for studying on the weekends, so you may have already guessed. And there is no such radio code as Woods in this state, dear Mr. Wright. Is this a fact? Heh. Don't look at me. I know as much as you do about police codes. Enough of this. I was quite taken with the defense's new theory, but if they can't substantiate it with anything, then I must end things here. No, please wait, Your Honor. Very well, but before we discuss this theory any further, I demand a plausible explanation. So, Mr. Wright, what is the true meaning of the bloody writing? Well, I believe it's... And no stalling. If you can't come up with an answer quickly, I will declare this discussion officially over. I'm in trouble now. What other meaning could it have besides the obvious one? Maybe it means something in another language, or maybe it's a code? Think, Mr. Wright, you can do this. Which piece of evidence will tell us what the word woods really means? Okay, let's take a look at this. So...
Oh, what is the number on there?
L10015R.
I guess that doesn't look like woods upside down either, does it?
No, and that's exactly when I was looking at it. I was looking at the number. Where did she write it? Oh, WD000. It's W. See what I mean, though? The width plus dimension, and the zeros, and the... Maybe? Like, maybe she was identifying the bomb? It seems like a weird way to do that, though. That's what I'm going to go with.
Take that!
Oh. What exactly is your point, Mr. Wright? I thought this evidence was supposed to tell me what woods really means. But doesn't it, Your Honor?
You better save soon.
I know. Are you asking me or telling me? I guess I'll let you be the judge of that. Yes, I'll do the judging around here. And I judge that you deserve a penalty. Have I been this bad at an intro case before?
Well, I mean, it's kind of weird, too. Because, like, we're pretty sure that Detonate wrote that. But he used her. I don't understand. Sometimes it's hard to understand what they're asking of you.
Yeah, because for this one, like, I mean, would she have written Woods, or would he have written Woods in her blood? Like, I don't know.
Well, he could have been writing like Woods is innocent. But he would have had to get up, get her blood, come back down.
Yeah, that didn't go over well. I just know there's something here. Oh, Kitty, I noticed something here that looks like the word Woods. Now then, let's try that again, shall we? Which piece of evidence tells us what the word Woods means? Okay, so something looks like the word Woods. Well, no, it's not this. We know that. The phony tail doesn't look like it. I don't think the remote switch does.
Can you go all the way around that?
No. Maybe they meant to write L1 and it came out W? O. I don't see how she could have done that with that. Although I'm starting to wonder if that's the... Well, it looks like there's something else written to the right.
Where?
To the right of S.
Oh.
See, I think it's L1001 5R.
That's the R.
So,
It is the thing.
yeah.
Take that!
The bomb transport case. I've about had it up to here with your shenanigans, Mr. Wright. Sorry, Kitty's in the way, so I'm stalling there. Take a look at the numbers on this case, Your Honor. L10015R. Doesn't this string look vaguely familiar? L100. What does that have to do with anything? What could these numbers possibly have to do with the case at hand? Now, please take a look at the bloody writing shown in the crime photo. Oh, I think I see it. That a girl. That's one on my side. It says Woods. Or you could say it's a horse of a different color, Your Honor. The first character isn't a W, it's actually an L and a 1. The next two are zeros. Oh my goodness. The true meaning behind the bloody writing isn't Miss Wood's name, it's the number engraved on this bomb transport case. What are you talking about? The next part doesn't make any sense. The next number is a 1, but the bloody writing says D. But the number on the case and the bloody writing can be made to match up quite easily. This is how the number in the transport case can be made to match the bloody writing. I was wondering about that. So that's... So the 1 and the 5... How to make that look like... Read it backwards?
What's the other options?
Remove 1 line, remove 2 lines, read it backwards.
Well, if she's looking at that bomb case, the number isn't correctly lined up. So...
Right, the 1 is further back than the 5. So...
Let's see what your options are again. It's not read it backwards. It's erase one of the lines. Or I don't know if it's 1 or 2. I think it might be 2.
So, let's see. L1, 0, 0, 1, 5. I mean, if you erase the curve, it looks like a 1. I don't know what...
1 line or 2?
I mean, I would say it's 1,
Okay,
but...
check.
Oh my goodness gracious. Oh. All you have to do is erase 1 line from the writing. Erase 1 line from where? Anywhere you like. Anywhere I'd like. Alright, I'll erase 1 of the zeros. WADS? What is that supposed to mean? Your state of mind, I believe it stands for Serene. Boss, what in the world? This is no time for a psychology test. Okay, start back from that.
I think it's the 2.
If it's read it backwards, I'd like to know how. Please erase the 3rd downward stroke of the W and the curved part of the D. Oh, from the whole thing. Wow, would you look at that? L-I-O-I-S. No, Your Honor, it isn't meant to be read as a word. It's the number L10015, which, if you take away the final R, is the exact same number that's on the bomb transport case. Erase 2 lines so they match up, you say? Well, I can change anything into anything else simply by erasing 2 lines. What if we erase 2 lines from your name? Would you be happy as Mr. Rye? Well, would you, Mr. Rye? The only right spelling is right. Okay, I'm doing pretty well here, and I think I've drawn the right conclusion. Detective Army's real message to us is the bomb transport case number. Your Honor, the 2 lines were added by the real culprit to intentionally mislead people. What? The original message Detective Army left behind was the transport case number, but whoever assaulted Apollo changed the message. If you're right, boss, then who do you suppose, or what do you suppose Detective Army was trying to tell us? Good question. What does this number represent? Do you see this number here? That's my identification number. Candace Army lost her life in the courtroom bombing. Her dying message could only have had one purpose. No. To tell us the name of the one responsible for the bombing. Well, don't keep us in suspense, Mr. Wright. Tell us who she was trying to name. The culprit that the victim was trying to identify is none other than...
Take that!
Here we go. The defense wishes to indict Mr. Detonate on the charge of the courtroom bombing. Detonate? Apparently disabling bombs isn't Mr. Detonate's only specialty. Somehow the victim must have realized that he was the bomber, so when she was caught in the blast, she left his bomb transport case number as her dying message. She used Mr. Detonate's own ID number to finger him for the crimes. Why would anyone go out of their way to write an ID number? Wouldn't they simply write the person's name? He's got a good point there. What do you have to say to that, Mr. Wright? That only Detective Army would know the answer to that. But allow me to offer a theory. Perhaps Detective Army couldn't recall Mr. Detonate's name in the heat of the moment. As I recall, this was the first meeting between the two. It's entirely possible they wouldn't have been familiar with each other. Or maybe using the ID number was a way to hide its true meaning from the real culprit, thus lowering the odds that they would erase the bloody writing. But no matter what the reason, the important thing is the meaning behind her message. The fact remains, she wrote Mr. Detonate's ID number. Now, just one moment here. There hasn't been any proof yet that it was indeed Detective Army who wrote it. The bloody writing wasn't found during the investigation after the blast. If Detective Army had left the message, it should have been found at that time. Naturally, Mr. Detonate hid it before anyone could discover it. And there's a simple explanation for how he was able to do so. What? Mr. Detonate was able to cover the message because he's, a stickler for details, the first to find the body wearing those weird goggles. He was the first to find the body. Yeah. The first person to discover the bloody writing was Mr. Detonate himself. I was the first one on the scene after the explosion. I went there to ensure safety, but I ended up discovering a dead body. When Mr. Detonate saw that the victim had written his ID number, he used the bomb transport case to cover up the bloody writing as a stopgap measure. Oh, so that's why the message in blood was under the transport case. He didn't have enough time to try and scribble away the writing. If he didn't report the body right away, he would look suspicious. So those letters lived on to serve another function. When Mr. Detonate used them in another incident. Oh, the assault on Mr. Justice. Exactly. Mr. Detonate hit upon a plan to use the bloody writing for his own purposes, so he didn't clean it away. Instead, he made it look like Mr. Justice wrote it, by adding 2 lines to the writing the Detective Army left behind. He changed the meaning of the message. He made it look like Mr. Justice was accusing Miss Woods of the attack. So that means the only person who could have altered the bloody writing was the courtroom bomber, who was the same person that assaulted Mr. Justice. And that person is Detonate. Gar! Order in the court, order I say. It looks like we will have to hear from the bomb specialist himself. Mr. Payne, please have Mr. Detonate take the witness stand. Oh, yes, Your Honor. That was great, Mr. Wright. Just doing what I do best, which is flying by the seat of my pants. Dismantling the case is yours. Do you think you can handle it? I look forward to seeing you try.
I'm not sure I'd want him in my courtroom. He seems a little dangerous.
I know. He's gonna assemble a real bomb mid-testimony. I finally drawn Mr. Detonate back onto the witness stand. Looks like you'll get your wish, Goggle Man. Now watch me take your lies apart. Just keeping track of the time. Okay, good. Mr. Detonate, I'm afraid we have a few more questions for you. I understand the situation, Your Honor. I was keeping a close eye on the proceedings from the gallery. The allegations are all laughable. I wouldn't be laughing if I were you, Mr. Tenate. The message in blood matches your ID number. The same ID number that is there on that bomb transport case. Such a far-fetched theory, no better than a tangled ball of wires. I'll have them untangled for you in no time at all. You were the first person on the scene after the detective army left your message in blood. You were the only one who could have hidden the writing, and then used it again later. I see times two, but then let me ask you, do you have any proof the detective army wrote that message? That's a very good question. Well, do you, Mr. Wright? The best way to prove that the detective army wrote that message is to
Analyze the DNA.
Your Honor, I request that a DNA test be performed on the blood itself. Once we know whose it is, it'll be obvious as to who wrote the message. We need Emma Skye for that. Very well. Bailiff, please put in a request for a DNA test for the forensics team. Yes, Your Honor. It will be some time before we have the results of the analysis. Until then, let's hear more from the witness. I would like nothing more, Your Honor. I want the court to hear how ridiculous the defense's theory is. I admit I was the first one on the scene after the explosion, but there was no bloody writing there at the time. Anyway, there was no way Detective Army could have written it. She struck her head on rubble and died near the courtroom entrance. She was too far away from where the bloody message was found. So you're saying that the victim's body was nowhere near where the writing was? Precisely. It is as plain as day that she could not have written it. It's true that the body was discovered near the entrance to the courtroom. Please have a look at this crime scene photo. As you can see, there is blood on the rubble near the victim's body. She must have died after hitting her head there. Of course, he could have moved it.
Yeah.
I see. Alright then, Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness. Do you have what it takes to take my infallible testimony apart? You know, totally different personality-wise, but he reminds me of the murderer in the first case of the second game, because that guy was such an arrogant,
Who was that?
He was that college student who would start rubbing his hands together, rubbing his face together a lot, and do this, and then he, choked himself out with his ascot or something, and as the meltdown. But he was very arrogant and full of himself. He was like an Ivy League, one of those guys. I admit I was the first one in the explosion. Also, let me check something really fast. Well, they look like the same place. Although... Okay.
Hold it!
Why were you the first person on the scene? To secure the area, it is regulation for a bomb disposal specialist to enter first. In other words, you had the opportunity to alter the bloody writing then, didn't you? Well... Mr. Wright, please don't interrupt. Mr. Tenade is about to give testimony that will show just how wrong your reasoning is. Darn, I think he was just about to say something interesting, too. When I went in and saw the aftermath, well, it was quite a disaster. But there was no bloody writing there at the time.
Hold it!
You were able to tell this even with those goggles on. With these goggles, there's no way I could have missed something like that. I can see quite well with them. In fact, I see every hair on your spiky head. Oh, you have a few grays, Mr. Wright. What? Poor Mr. Wright. You're always working so hard keeping our office together. Wait a minute, I don't have any gray hairs. Just kidding. I object to the witness's attempt to prematurely give me gray hair. Mr. Tenate, this court frowns upon untoward comments on a person's hair or lack thereof. I'm sensing a great wave of sorrow coming from the judge. My apologies, Your Honor. May I please continue my testimony? Anyway, there's no way Detective Army could have written it.
Hold it!
If she didn't write it, then who do you propose did? Apollo, he's gonna say. Mr. Justice, of course. Just before dying, he wrote the name of his attacker, Juniper Woods.
He didn't die.
Final message from your poor subordinate. Poor Mr. Justice, I'm starting to get all misty-eyed. Apollo is not dead, folks. So how come you be so sure it wasn't Detective Army who wrote the message? It is very simple. She had struck her head on rubble and died near the courtroom entrance. She was too far away from where the bloody message was found. So let's press him on this.
Hold it!
Do you imagine she was thrown back by the force of the blast? A bomb can inflict damage not only from the explosion itself, but also substantial secondary damage from the blast wind. Detective Army unfortunately hit her head on some rubble. It's stated in her autopsy report as well. Cause of death, trauma to back of head. Ah, the autopsy report. I'd better take another look at that. Now, do you see? Detective Army could not have written that message. The reason for that being, she was too far away from where the bloody message was found. So, trauma to back of head caused by impact with a flat object. Time of death between 8 and 11 a.m. Isn't it possible she could have crawled to the area of the bloody message? If that were true, then how did she return to the spot near the entrance? Maybe she crawled back after writing it? Humph. Hey, did this guy just humph me? Would you like to get down on the floor and give us a demonstration of your theory? No thank you. The victim's body and the writing are several yards away from each other. There's no way she could reach. Quite the conundrum. So that means something is off somewhere. There must be a contradiction. Maybe the body was moved. But that doesn't explain how blood got onto the rubble. What if that was done by the real culprit after the fact? If that's the case, then something about that might contradict the evidence we have. Being safe. I mean, I don't mind getting one more wrong, but I want to be careful. She had struck her head on rubble and died. Here's the thing. It's a flat object, but her blood is not just flat on the bottom of that. Like, it's on the top there, it's molded around. My guess is she was actually hit by a weapon, and then that was supposed to make it seem like it was something else. So let me do the autopsy.
Objection!
You are a terrible liar, Mr. Tenate. Take a look at this autopsy, specifically the part about Detective Army's head injury. Cause of death, trauma to back of head caused by impact with a flat object. Yes, what about it? Now take a good look at the bloody piece of rubble. It's sharp and pointed. Hey, you're right, boss. It is pointy. Just like your hair. That is odd, isn't it? What could be the meaning of this contradiction? I believe it means the victim did not hit her head on this piece of rubble. The bloodstain you see is just another fabrication. Its purpose is to mislead us into thinking the victim died near the courtroom entrance. Are you claiming the culprit moved the victim's body? That's exactly what I'm claiming. The victim hit her head at some other location, most likely on the floor or some other flat surface. And this location was somewhere near where the bloody writing was found. In that case, she definitely could have written the message. Your Honor, I have the results of the bloodstain analysis. Very good timing. Let's take a look. According to this report, the message was written in Detective Army's blood. And as the defense claims, only the parts of the message that were added afterwards were written in Mr. Justice's blood. It would appear that the defense's assertion is correct after all. Yes, you did it. You were right, boss. Now I have to drive it home. I'll have to take a good look at the bloody writing analysis later. Yeah, let's do it now. DNA analysis definitively proves that the blood of the victim to be that of the victim, Candace Army, age 27. However, the lines that were added later were found to be in the blood of Apollo Justice, age 23. Mr. Senate, it is now apparent that you have told several lies to this court. I hope you have some sort of explanation for yourself. Fine, I will confess. You will? Then why are you so calm? This time I will tell the truth. It is true the Detective Army wrote my ID number. She very plainly wrote L10015R. I was shocked, but I did not detonate the bomb. Detective Army must have mistaken me for the real bomber. Not wanting to be accused, I moved the body and covered the writing. My bad. I see, so it is your assertion that you merely moved the body, is that it? That is correct, I did not kill Detective Army. Oh, well, if that's all you did, then wait a minute. That in and of itself is a criminal act. Glad to see you finally crossed that finish line, Your Honor. Very well, then, your cross-examination, please, Mr. Wright. This guy's, like, so dangerous, and then he's just like, my bad. Please. Didn't you? The victim may have had special knowledge of who the bomber was. I have no idea what thoughts Detective Army may have had inside her head. It is not like I ever dismantled her mind to check. Mr. Wright, if you have suspicions about the witness, let's see your proof. Evidence is everything in a court of law, even school children know that. How many years have you been a defense attorney now? Cut me some slack, will you? Don't feel bad, boss. You just got your attorney's badge back after all. In that sense, you're still more of a beginner than I am. I suppose I should be thankful you're not a licensed psychologist. Mr. Senate, please continue with your testimony. With pleasure, my ID number was left at the scene, but... Detective Army must have mistaken me for the real bomber. By mistaken, do you mean you had nothing to do with the explosion? That is correct. That is why I was so shocked when I saw my ID number. The victim may have suspected Mr. Tenay for no other reason than the fact that, as the bomb specialist, he was in charge of the bomb. In other words, a false accusation. It's vocational discrimination, I say. I do not support discrimination of any kind. Well spoken, Your Honor. If the victim had been found to be killed with a gavel, Mr. Bluesuit over there probably would have pinned the crime on you. He would? Well, that just wouldn't do. Mr. Wright, if you dare try to pin anything on me, I will find you in contempt of court. But I've never even tried to harm a hair on or a strand of your beard, Your Honor. Well said, Mr. Payne, because I am so closely associated with bombs. I was afraid I would be prosecuted if anyone saw the bloody writing. And I wanted to be accused. I moved the body and covered the writing. My bad. You didn't think to clean away the bloody writing? I didn't have time. By the time I found the message, the blood was already dry. The police were waiting just outside for me to secure the room, and I still had to move the body. I was in a panic. With no time to spare, I temporarily covered the writing with my case. Didn't you think the police would find it during their investigation? Regulation stipulates only specialists may touch transport cases. Because of the danger, you see, I thought I would clean up the writing once they were finished. My bad. My bad? Does he really think that will just magically smooth everything over? This guy is something else. And I don't believe Detective Arby's dying message was just some mistake. He won't wriggle out of this that easily. What did Mr. Tenate see when he first discovered the bloody writing? There has to be a contradiction hidden in his testimony somewhere. Okay, let's do the first two. I'm thinking it might be the third, just because they made a show of saying evidence. So you admit that you actually did see the bloody writing that Detective Army left. My bad, I should have said so from the outset. And you are sure it was your ID number? I am sure it was definitely my ID number. The number was assigned exclusively to me by the police department. The number is assigned to my goggles as well. So those funky things were provided by the police department. Although these were special goggles customized by me personally. Speaking of personalized, these sunglasses of mine were custom-made as well. They were specially crafted to be particularly dark and shiny. Speaking of special, my gavel was made of mahogany and was custom-made as well. It was specially created to make a particularly loud and resounding sound. Wish I had something to brag about. Be all of that as it may, I just want to reconfirm you saw the bloody writing clearly, and that it was your ID number. That is correct, my ID number was written in blood on the floor. She wrote L1, but it was written after the bomb went off in the courtroom. Correct, I didn't know why she would write it, so that sent me into a panic. Sounds like you were in quite a tizzy. If I were in his shoes, I guess it would have psyched me out too. I can't imagine coming across the message "Psychs" written in blood. If I saw "gasp in pain" written in blood, it'd certainly make me gasp. Rest assured, Mr. Tenate, I understand how you must have felt. And so you discovered your ID number written in blood at the scene, and... That is right, I saw it with my own eyes. It very clearly said L10015R. So, this one... That's missing. I mean, he has the key for the case. Let's press on this again. Didn't you? The victim may have had special knowledge of who the bomber was. I have no idea what thoughts Detective Army has inside her head. Not like I ever dismantled her mind to check. Mr. Wright, if you have suspicions about the witness, let's see your proof. Evidence is everything in a court of law. Even school children know that. Okay, I'll go with it just because he has the key.
Objection!
Oh no, the music's still going. There's something odd about the witness's statement, and this is the evidence that will prove it. I'm sorry, Mr. Wright, but the only thing odd I find is your objection.
What about the remote, since it's still missing, and then it would be inside that case?
True. Is that something we can make the connection to right now? Or it's the picture with because then he's also saying he added the blood.
Okay.
So maybe it's this.
Objection!
Oh no, the number's still... Oh no. Wow, really? This is kind of a hard first case. Okay. Let's see. But Apollo Justice added more stuff later. So we might be getting ahead of ourselves. Well, let's go with that switch.
Objection!
Nope.
I don't understand what we're doing now.
Well, I can see what we're doing wrong, but I'm trying to figure out how to... I mean, they talk about the evidence here.
What time did the bomb go off? Say when the bomb went off?
I don't believe it does.
Because they gave us a 3-hour window of when she was dead,
Yeah.
which seems really weird.
Yeah, it's a big window. Let's see.
Objection!
Nope.
We tried.
I tried the DNA analysis because clearly more stuff was added later, which we know.
What is it? But I did not detonate the bomb.
Detective Army must have mistaken me for the real bomber. Not wanting to be accused, I moved the body and covered the writing. My bad. Press 1 this again. You didn't think to clean away the bloody writing. Didn't have time. Blood was already dry. Police were waiting just outside for me. Had to move the body. I was in a panic. Temporarily covered the writing with my case. What did
Oh,
Mr.
can you ask her to analyze? Remember that was new?
Yeah, I was looking for that. I didn't see any way to do that. What did Mr. Nate see when he first discovered the bloody writing? What did he see when he first discovered the bloody writing? Let's see.
I might have to come back to this with fresh eyes tomorrow.
It's possible. Oh, I wanted to get him. Let's see one more time what they say. Didn't you? The victim may have had special knowledge of who the bomber was. I have no idea what thoughts that Army may have had inside her head. Evidence is everything. Might have to. Well, next time we play, he will go down. Gotta say, I dig this Allegro music they have for the testimony. Okay, well, we couldn't quite get rid of him today, but we're close to the end of this trial, and so that little face and all that, we're about to take him down. All right? Next time. detonate is gonna blow up.